Artisanal and small-scale mining has become the mainstay of the livelihoods of most rural communities in Zimbabwe today. However, COVID-19 not only had an impact on artisanal and small-scale mining communities, but affected their economic sustainability too.
The COVID-19 in artisanal and small-scale mining communities being conducted by Green Governance Zimbabwe with the support of Action Aid Zimbabwe seeks to promote awareness around COVID issues within these communities. It is important to understand that mining communities face an influx of people, which makes them more vulnerable to COVID-19. And not only should we view mining as specifically mining activity, but we should focus on the livelihood issues that are involved. So when COVID-19 struck our societies, it was important for Green Governance Zimbabwe to make this intervention to try to save the livelihoods of communities as they pursue their mining activities.
The spread of the disease that when the legal mining activities increased, they raised the interest in that it became a gold rush. So a lot of people came into the area, like vendors, like other people even from across the border, from Mozambique, were coming to sell their proceeds. And all these people now became a danger in that they were now exposing the community to COVID. Because you understand, most of them, they're not even complying to the WHO guidelines on COVID-19.
The World Bank EGPS COVID-19 impact reporting indicated that 100% of gem miners earned less income. 58% of respondents won't have access to healthcare if sick. 57% of respondents say access to food has decreased.
A lot of households could not get source of food because they did not have any income. And so that was a serious impact.
Wana chikafu nekuti vanhu vese vanga vakagara anibona saka papasina dzimwe minzi dzekuti vanhu vangaona chikafu semazuva ese nekuti kumashure uko vanhu vaenda kumabasa pasina unovapa restriction kuti uku musaende kana kuti nguva dzakati musafambe. Saka ipoko that alone zvakapa kushanduka kune vanhu vese kuti zvino vangaiona kupi mare yekuti vatenge chikafu.
At face value, COVID-19 has a direct impact on miners that are involved in mineral exploration, but largely it affects their ability to sustain their families.
Chirwere ichi chaka affecta basa redu pakuti vakomana muri kuona varapa ndingangoti ndo kwakuchibva earning yawo kumhuri dzawo. Saka pakauya COVID zvakatombonetsawo kudzimba dzawo, chero isusu pana pabasa tatisina vanhu vanga vachakwanisa kuti vashande because mutemo wasingabvumidzi kuti kuitike movements.
The COVID-19 crackdown had a huge impact on the mobility of people, which is a key component of artisanal and small-scale mining.
Pakune restricted movement ema miners. This actually affected production, and indeed our production statistics actually show that miners are affected. Then we also have issue that we're providing limited technical assistance. Most of the miners, we relate with them in the issue of technical assistance. So basically, we did not help them much in terms of technical assistance. We also realized many deaths in that particular period of time. That's where the issue where illegal mining was actually at its peak.
The impact of COVID-19 also affected artisanal and small-scale mining's access to market for gold trading, forcing them to sell their produce at a minimal price as compared to the pre-COVID-19 period.
Yeah, my prices akadona zvakanyanyisa, especially like chairo izvozvi akatozonyanya kutodona kubva payatanga COVID. And nofunga kudona kwayakaita maprice nawe kuti gold rara kubuda rara ashoma, saka ukumarket rinogona kudererawo vachitotora advantage that COVID-19.
We simply take market price from the world standards. fidelity that does not detect. It just brings to say we are buying it at this particular price, then we are selling it to the world market at this particular price. The cost should not exceed the price. That's only what the balance of probabilities is. Just a normal business ethic.
The mining sector, the economic impact was that there was an increase in artisanal mining because that was the only activity people could carry out as a subsistence activity. Because there was no any alternative at all to source funds. So those activities increased during the period. And also during that very period, one of the large-scale mines that are in this area closed down, and it was under care and maintenance, so it impacted on the community heavily in economic terms.
The COVID-19 in artisanal and small-scale mining project is multi-pronged and involves expert education and awareness on COVID-19 regulations for mining communities, monitoring and assessment of public sector COVID-19 interventions, and also support of local public health institutions with PPE and detergents.
There's a need for us to continue to spread the message to the people. As a ministry, I don't think we can do that alone. That's where we need partnership. Government is always talking about triple Ps. And one of that partnership is maybe you come on board as CSOs, help us spread the message of COVID, help us also to find measures that can be useful both to you and us in terms of trying to harness, to address the challenges being given to us by COVID. We are at the peak of COVID right now, and maybe we are starting to realize in some few gains. But what is at the moment required is maybe to come on board and make sure that we help spread the information about COVID. At the same time, we don't have to stop mining. That's the backbone of this economy. As you are aware, we have to make sure that mining goes on. But at the same time, let's try to come on board and make sure that we give the information so that people respond to or adapt to the issue of having COVID at the same time wanting to produce.
Masuro waitibatsira ne-awareness animabona kupfeka mamaski, kuita social distance, kutaurira vanhu zvekuti waite panguva yacho iyoyo kuti tizosvikire panguva inei. Asi infact kuma-handouts kuti taimbozwa kuti tinofanira kuti tipiwe masanitizers, mushonga wekuti tigeze nawo nezvekupfeka zvacho. Wakamboti tichapiwa asi hatina kuzozvowana zvinhu izvozvo.
Kunongu tiri kutedzerera like mashandiro atinoita neakomana havashandi vakaungana, vanoshanda kuti munhu pagomba rake, munhu pagomba rake, munhu pagomba rake. Sometimes ndio yatinoti social distance pakutoshanda kwacho. Kana wachishanda mugomba, munhu anenge achishanda kana kuti ari 1 mumwe ari panze. Saka kazhinji vanowanzoshanda vari 3 kana 4 pamakomba ari panapa. Saka maybe panauye kutedzera zvaidiwa muCovid tinenge taiita, sometimes pasi vaikunozopindawo haune zvimacloth kuitira dust boss vanenge vachidzika pasi. Maybe yaigonotoshandira semamask.
There is an urgent need to develop a better understanding of the artisanal and small-scale mining sector so that important decisions specific to each context are made, particularly regarding formalizing their operations.
You have come here asking for small-scale artisanal miners. There's no way in the Mines and Minerals Act, the current Mines and Minerals Act, where it's written small-scale artisanal miners. It's only in the new act, which is still a bill, the ways those issues are addressed. We have come to be using the bill instead of the act. So it's not implementable. You cannot implement law which has not been enacted. So basically, if you come on board, you help us to make sure that issues to do with artisanal miners, which are addressed in the current bill, are actually taken on board by enacting that act into a law. Then we're home and dry. We can start to say, there we are. Let's start and go forward with the small-scale artisanal miners. Because they are not legal at the moment. They are just a bookish thing, that maybe a blueprint. I can say a blueprint. They are not legal small-scale artisanal miners at the moment.
Through the COVID-19 in Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining Project, Green Governance Zimbabwe Trust set out to assess the impact of COVID-19 on artisanal and small-scale mining, and with the support of Action Aid Zimbabwe, developed an intervention to assist them cope with the impact of the pandemic.
We've been able to make that intervention with the support of Action Aid, where we, distributed PPE and other, materials that are needed, as well as informing the COVID-19 task force within the Manicaland province on how they can improve the intervention strategies by different stakeholders. So going forward, we seek to disseminate this project to other sectors and stakeholders so that they have a better understanding of how COVID-19 affects mining communities. And more importantly, support is still needed within these communities since there is a second wave of COVID and the repercussions that are still coming on the ground because of what happened when the COVID-19 struck. It is important for us to understand the various demographics within these communities, which include children, women, as well as the artisanal miners themselves, to say how can interventions that are specific to these demographics be done with consciousness and with targeted advocacy.
Ndakulochera mukute msango mondi chingopara ndinofamba nema-OGs chatema bemba nemigwara pari kutsvagwa dombo munhu panorowa mabara handichafamba nema-backpacks anendakazvimira kudhara ndakulochera mukute msango mondi chingopara ndinofamba nema-OGs chatema bemba nemigwara pari kutsvagwa dombo munhu panorowa mabara saka ndongokorokoza ndichienda korokoza ndichienda korokoza ndichienda straight about the cut, chikongi machiti.